Hello, everybody. This is Catholic Dad, episode number 251. The gold standard would be easy. So, what is money, by the way? A lot of people don't think about this. They think it's just paper in their pocket or some kind of electronic transfer, but it's not. Money is actually a storage of wealth, a storage of assets, in something that's transferable from one person to the next, one government to the next. That's what money is, and it's something. Money, for something to be money, it has to be essentially. Be able to hold value for long periods of time and easily exchangeable. And it's difficult to create and it's difficult to destroy. That's like the classic definition of money. Gold being the perfect example of money because it takes a heck of a lot of effort to mine it. Once you have it, it lasts forever. It's indestructible. It doesn't corrode. It doesn't waste, and it really doesn't have any kind of industrial purpose, so therefore it will always be around for the transfer from one party to the next. And gold has always been the classic money. Silver as well, although silver does have multiple industrial applications in electronics as well as medicine and several other avenues. But I say the gold standard would be easy. Now, a lot of people, and I would call them dum-dums that don't understand economics, think the gold standard would be impossible because everybody says there's not enough gold in the world for the gold standard to work. Well, that may have been true, I don't know, 500 years ago or 300 years ago when we actually had a gold standard and it worked perfectly. That was a much harder time to have a gold standard than today. Today it would be super easy, like simple as simple could be to have a gold standard, but the centralized banks would not allow it and they wouldn't be happy about it. How would you be able to have a gold standard? Well, today we have everything's electronic and it's easy to transfer electronic codes to other people. And therefore, you could easily have a central holder of gold currency, or gold bullion or whatever it is, somewhere in the world, let's say Fort Knox in America or something like that. And then people would actually purchase pieces of gold within Fort Knox with their own earned dollars, right? So they would actually buy gold accounts with this one central treasury of gold. In fact, you could have multiple, you could decentralized treasuries as well, and you could have treasuries all over the world. And then that you could actually go and claim pieces of gold if you wanted to, show up and say, I want my piece of gold. Well, here's the deal, by the way. You never actually have to claim your gold. If you have a gold account, you could have your gold account on your smartphone, and you could actually text people like packets of gold. You could actually give up your ownership of gold and give it to somebody else, and then they could have their own little gold account where they could actually have ownership of their own gold, and that would be their own little bank account. You wouldn't even need a bank, by the way. You would just need to have some kind of ownership of gold in some central location. That's all you would need. It would be so simple to do, it's ridiculous. Now everybody's like, let's take the argument. Well, so how much gold is there in the world? Well, there's enough gold to fill an Olympic swimming pool. I think that's what there is. So there's not that much gold in the world if you think about it. They've been mining it for thousands and thousands of years, but to fill an Olympic swimming pool, like people say, well, that's not enough gold in the world. Well, I remember in mathematics, upper level linear algebra in college, the mathematics professor said, you can confuse simple people by making the statement that if you take a pea size of any compound you want, one pea size, and there's actually enough atoms and matter in that pea to smear it around the entire planet and cover the entire surface of the earth with that one little pea, right? And so if you're a simple mind, you can't figure that out. It doesn't make sense to you. But if you have a complex mathematical mind or somebody that actually has a tiny amount of reason, you can actually see how that would be possible. Well, if you have an entire Olympic swimming pool of gold, and then that's the fixed standard for currency, then you could easily fund the entire world's economy with gold and gold alone. Based upon how much money fluxes into the gold markets, you can actually make one molecule of gold worth $1 trillion if you needed to, or so on and so forth. You understand how that would work. And as more people buy into it, the value of gold would go up. It'd be essentially like the stock market, but it would be the gold market. And if you buy ownership of gold, then that's your bank account. The gold standard would really harm a lot of banks, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, by the way. And I'm just making this video because a lot of people say the gold standard is not possible today. It's too complex. Actually, the gold standard is a lot easier today than it was 100 years ago, or than it was even 10 years ago. You have Apple Pay on your phone. All you need is Gold Pay. and simple. That would be very simple. And so please like or subscribe, get the Mass, pray the daily rosary, live a sacramental life. And oh, by the way, I just wanted to say something about economics. I'm kind of a hobby economist. I'm a physician, radiologist, father of 9 kids. And everybody tries to make economics difficult by creating all these inversion curves and all the other garbage. And economics is simple. It's something that every kid and every parent should talk about at the dinner table. Like, because basic economics is essentially about living life, about buying and selling goods, about interacting with human beings. Economics is life, and life is economics. It's simple, and it shouldn't be difficult, and people shouldn't be scared to talk about it. So when I say the gold standard's easy, if you agree with me, please comment below and say, yeah, I agree with you. That actually makes sense. If you disagree with me, then it's time to start thinking about economics more, because the topic I talked about is actually quite simple. And the major economists at like Ivy League universities can't understand what I said, because they can't wrap their head around simplicity. They make their practice difficult, and it's not. It's actually quite simple. So yeah, take care. Have a good night. God bless you, and sleep well.